Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to craft a solo from scales and arpeggios. We're going to be working on the tune Blue Bossa, which is a jazz standard. And if you don't already know the tune, you can check out my older video where I go over the melody and the chords to this song. I'll link that above. So let's get started with what scales and what arpeggios we need to know to solo over this tune. The first scale is going to be the C minor scale. And we're going to be staying in this position of the neck, so around second or third position of the neck. And we're not going to be moving far from this. It's easy to solo in one area rather than move up and down the fretboard because you don't have to move as much. So we're going to try to stay in this one area with all of our scales and arpeggios. So the C minor scale is going to be used for the first half of the tune. All the chords come from the C minor scale. But then for the bridge, we have to use the D flat major scale because it's a 2-5-1 in the key of D flat. So here's the D flat major scale in that same region of the neck. Okay, notice that I'm not going all the way up to the root again. I'm just grabbing the notes that are in that region, okay? Because we're going to be improvising. We're not going to be just playing the scale up and down and just playing arpeggios up and down. We're going to be using the scales and arpeggios to create licks and create motifs, musical ideas and phrases. Okay, so we've got our two scales, the two keys of the song, C minor and D flat major. Now what we need to do is learn the arpeggios of each chord. So we're going to start with the first chord, C minor 7th. Notice we can play that arpeggio twice. We have it the first time through the root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, and then we can do it again. Okay, so the next chord, it goes to the minor 4 chord, which is F minor, and we're going to stay in the same position. We're going to start with the F note right here on the 3rd fret. There it is, and we can grab two more notes, the F again and the minor 3rd. You can also grab notes below the F, but we're going to start with the root just to make things simple. So here it is one more time. Okay, after the F minor chord, we have a minor 2-5-1 to C. So that starts off with a D minor 7 flat 5, and the arpeggio looks like this. Okay, it's a root, flat 3rd, flat 5th, flat 7, and then we can grab the root again, the 3rd, and the flat 5 again. Okay, so that is our minor 2 chord in the key of C minor, and the last chord in the first half of the song is G7. Okay, that's the arpeggio twice. You can also grab the G again at the bottom. You could technically stretch and grab the 3rd again, the B, way up there, but we're just gonna play the arpeggio twice. So here's the G7 again. Okay, so that's all the arpeggios for the first half of the tune. Now let's move on to the bridge where we change keys to D flat. We're going to start off with the 2 chord, which is E flat minor 7th, and it looks like this. That's one time through. And then you can grab the root again, 3rd, and the 5th. Now we're just playing these arpeggios up, but you want to practice them going up and in reverse, okay? We're not going to just be playing the arpeggios in our solos. We're going to be using the arpeggios to create melodic ideas. So it's important to be able to play them in both directions and be able to visualize all these notes on the fretboard. So that was the 2 chord in the key of D flat major. let's move to the 5 chord, which is A flat 7. Notice it's the same shape as the G7, just up a half step. Okay, so again, you can grab that root on the E string if you want to, and you can also stretch to get the 3rd if you need to get that note in your solo as well. So here it is one more time. Okay, and then after that we have the 1 chord, the D flat major 7. You can stretch to get that major 7th again if you want to. You can also go up a half step if you want to get the root, but we're not going to be using notes that far up the fretboard in our solo. So here's that chord one more time. Okay, and that's all the arpeggios you need to know. After that point, it goes back to the D minor 7 flat 5, and then G7, back to the C minor. So it ends back in the key that it started in, C minor. It ends with that minor 2 5 1. Okay, so now that we have our scales and our arpeggios, we can use them to create some melodic ideas. So the first melodic idea we're going to use is from the C minor scale. Very simple, just going up the minor scale and then turning around but skipping a note. We're going to skip the 4th note when we come back down. So it's 1 2 3 4 5 3 2 1. That's the musical motif or musical idea. So we're going to use that over the C chord. That's going to be our first lick. Then once we get to the F chord, we can play it over the F. Okay? Exactly the same thing. Still coming from the C minor scale. You could also think about it as coming from the F minor scale or part of that F minor arpeggio. Okay? So those two together. You have some time to rest. Okay? We're leaving space too, because we want to have these musical ideas to stand on their own. We play them, give it some space, and then we move on to the next idea. So after that, we have our 2 chord. We're going to play the arpeggio this time, but we're going to add 2 notes from the scale. Very good bebop lick. You can use this over a bunch of different chords, but right now we're going to be using it over the 2 chord. And then after that, we get to the 5 chord, which we're going to play the arpeggio, but we're going to add a note from the scale. It's that flat 9 if you're thinking about it, from G. And then we end by enclosing this E flat note landing on the C. So both of those are from the C arpeggio. Okay, so now moving on to the bridge. We're going to start off with that same musical idea that we were playing over C and F, but we're going to approach it with a half step. And then we're going to go straight into the arpeggio of the A flat. And then we're going to play 2 notes from the D flat major arpeggio, the 5th and the 3rd. Those 2 notes are also from the arpeggio. There's the 5th, and this note is from the scale. It's the 6. Okay, so that sounds like this. Okay, so after that, we're back to the 2 chord, which is the D minor 7 flat 5 in the key of C minor, but we're going to play the F lick because it actually works over the D minor as well, the D minor 7 flat 5. It uses a lot of the notes from the arpeggio of the D minor 7 flat 5. And then we're going to go into a G arpeggio. Now this is the G7, and I'm using a triplet with down strum, so I'm kind of sweeping through this. And then at the end, I'm resolving to G, which is in the C minor arpeggio, and I'm using 2 notes of the scale before I get to that G note. So here's that last bit. And there you go. there's a solo over blue bossa using just the notes from the scales and the arpeggios, plus 1 or 2 extra chromatic notes, especially in that bridge. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video and my other videos, check out my Patreon where I'll have a backing track and PDFs and all kinds of cool stuff. Thanks again.